Well, this is what Lord Brown is recommending. Fees are to be capped at just over £3,000 a year at the moment. That doesn't have to be paid up front. Under these new proposals, the cap will be scrapped and the amount universities can charge would be unlimited. Those who charge, though, above £6,000 per year would have to put more money aside to help poorer students. And that £6,000 fee dwarfs the size of fees being charged, for instance, in Ireland, where a student at Trinity College Dublin from the EU, for example, would pay £1,500. But it doesn't yet bring us into line with the US system, where top universities like Harvard charge £25,000 per year, but 6 out of 10 students there get substantial bursaries and grants. Under Lord Brown's proposals, the average student studying in England and Wales will now leave university with about £30,000 worth of debt. And previously, they didn't start paying their debt off until they earned £15,000. Well, that payment threshold under Lord Brown's proposals would rise to £21,000. He's also been saying that 20% of graduates with the lowest earnings will pay no more than they do now to go to university, but higher earners will pay significantly more through tougher interest rates. Well, earlier, the report's author, Lord Brown, spoke to our political editor, Adam Bolton, who pushed him on whether the new system would actually be fairer.
Lord Brown, if we boil this down, first of all, from the point of view of the person thinking about going to university, do your proposals mean that the average student will have to find more from their own pocket to pay for their education?
Well, the average graduate will. The student won't have to find anything, and that's really important. So the graduate will have to find more, and how much he or she finds will be a matter of how much he or she earns. So more successful, the more you pay, the less successful, the less you pay. Up, and you pay only what the government's paid for you.
I think the estimates are that a typical graduate now is left with debts of something in the region of £25,000, something like that.
That's right. They'll go up by about, on average, probably £6,000 or so.
So it will cost an average student over £30,000 to...
Over £30,000, that's right.
So is there any advantage at all? Is it just a question of it costing more?
Oh, I think there's a lot of advantage. I think, first of all, not every university is going to put up fees, I don't believe. The universities are a very diverse set of institutions. They do very different things. Some will have to, others won't. And that will, I believe, keep improving the quality of higher education in England. And that does need to keep improving because it's a competitive game and people are improving all over the world.
But you are taking the cap off, so the limit now just above £3,000. You're saying if you are, I don't know, Oxford and you're teaching medicine, you could charge £12,000 or more.
Well, medicine's a very special subject, very, very expensive subjects. The government's going to pay for the difference for that, and they'll continue to do that because it's out of the question to bear the full cost of that. But there's a cap. A soft cap at £7,000, whereby if a university wants to charge more, they need to satisfy the new regulator we're putting in place that they're doing the right thing in allowing fair access to their university and that they're improving the student experience. And the government bearing a proportion of the total cost.
But the government probably paying less.
Government paying less because they're paying virtually all of it now. So the student will pay a bit more. And the reason why the government's paying virtually all of it now is not only do they lend students money, which is paid back on graduation, they don't have to pay any interest on it, and that means that the amounts get devalued.
If you are sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul, effectively, presumably that means the universities themselves won't really benefit. They'll just get their existing funds from different sources.
No, they will be able to get more money if they really can justify it and they need it. They can get more money.
Do we need more people going to university in this country?
I personally think we do. We're recommending in this report that we allow a 10% increase in the number of students over the next 3 to 4 years. And the reason I say that is, you know, a country which is better educated is one which is more successful.
Got to put it to you, the Labour government asked you to do this report. Now in opposition, the Labour Party appear to be saying Lord Brown has got it wrong. It shouldn't be about fees. It should be about a graduate tax with people who earn more paying more. What's wrong with that?
Well, we studied graduate tax. It doesn't work. Basically, it costs too much money. It takes forever to get the taxes coming in, and it's basically unfair. It allows people to pay huge amounts of money compared with the cost of what they've actually undertaken as education.
So can you take us through, as it were, the lifetime of the typical person going to university
Sure.
now from an average background? How much would they be paying and when?
So you go in, you get your maintenance grant and loan, 7,000 say a year. You don't pay a thing, you graduate, then you have to earn more than £21,000 a year, and that's incidentally inflated with wages. So at the end of 30 years, someone asked me, that'll be £75,000. So you pay, if you earn more than that, you begin to pay back a little bit. So £25,000 you're paying, I think it's £7 a week, back as repayment. So you pay a little bit back year by year.
And if you get a swish job in the city, I don't know, starting out, some people do now, £50,000 a year or whatever.
You'll pay back pretty quickly, as you should. You know, the successful will pay back quickly, and they'll pay back the whole amount. But if you're as I said, if you're earning, if you're the 20% of bottom earners, you're not going to pay back as much as you get, nothing like. And I think you've got to be more than 50% of the earners only pay back 50% of their loans.
Obviously you want this to be adopted. What do you say now to politicians who are thinking about opposing this because they think it's unfair?
Well, we were set up independently, so this is an independent review, and we have no part in the politics, but this is designed to make a system that lasts, that increases quality and allows participation to go up. And I believe we've satisfied those criteria.
Lord Brown, I know you're making a presentation to all the party leaders in a few minutes' time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Back to you, Eamon.
Thanks, Adam. And Lord Brown, he is the man who wrote the report there. It's got big implications now if you're thinking of going to university in 2 years' time. So let's meet some folk who are. Jane Dougal is at Mellow Lane School, and that's in Middlesex, in Hayes, Jane. So what reaction are you getting there this morning?
Well, I think everyone here sat up when they heard that the average student would be owing around £30,000 when they graduated from university, because that amount could mean the difference between going to university and not going to university, and of course could determine what the future holds for these students. Now, Adam, Hamzy and Ricky, all of you sixth formers hoping to go to university. Adam, £6,000 at least. Do you think that that might mean that university is not an option for you now?
Yeah, possibly, especially coming from sort of a slightly poorer background, because even before this it was going to be kind of difficult for me to go to university, especially the ones that I wanted to. But now I just don't know if I'll be able to, regardless of the grades that I get at A-level.
How does that make you feel, Adam?
Just disappointed, really. I've always assumed that I'd be able to go to university, like getting the grades that I wanted and doing the course that hopefully I wanted to do, but now it's just might not be a reality.
Okay, which is pretty harsh, really. Hamzy, you're talking about hopefully doing either law or accountancy. Yeah. Are you expecting those courses probably to be more expensive? And looking at some universities like Cambridge and Oxford, they're talking about £12,000. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, well, it's not unfair, because I'm in the same situation as Adam, where my parents don't earn a lot of money, and basically, because I don't earn a lot, this will dictate my choices a lot because of these new regulations being put in place. And basically, because I'm in the same situation as Adam, I'll have to look at the lesser universities, and knowing that I'll have to give back £30,000 will really lessen my chances of going to university, which I always assumed, like Adam, that I would do.
Now, Ricky, you always assumed, like the other boys, that you would go to university, so you probably always knew that you'd be in debt. What's a couple more thousand? And also, you won't have to pay it back now until you're earning £21,000.
It may be a couple thousand to some people, but for a student it's a substantial amount of money, and it will dictate your choices that you make. Because say if you're thinking of going to a prestigious university like Oxford or Cambridge, you'll have to give it a second thought, because you don't know whether you can afford to go to those kinds of universities. So it would really limit your choices.
OK, obviously politically it's controversial as well. Assistant head teacher Martin Essery, because the Liberal Democrats initially pledged to scrap tuition fees, and now that's not happening, they're being risen. I mean, does that make you angry as a teacher?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, the Lib Dem supporters and MPs, I think, are going to find this really difficult to swallow, and having seen a rise in tuition fees over the past few years, students are already in massive financial hardship, so I think this is going to exacerbate the situation quite a lot. And yeah, I think it does make us quite frustrated as teachers.
Yeah, especially because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of incentive. I mean, how can you motivate pupils if it's dictated to or is perhaps predetermined even in primary school?
Well, exactly. We've seen students over the last few years who had the capacity to go to university taking a second thought because of the financial implications of that, and I think this is going to make it a lot more difficult for students in that situation, particularly those in the middle, like the squeeze middle that we've been hearing about recently, parents, single parents and who are working. How are they going to fund many children going to university? I think that's going to be a big problem coming up.
All right. Well, it seems the people who are going to be bearing the brunt of these decisions don't seem to be very, very happy with them. And ironically, boys, tell us what you've got next.
Government and politics.
Government and politics.